I found something on my husband's laptop that I shouldn't have. When I showed it to his mom, she told me to immediately call the cops on her son. I thought my husband was the most honest and hard-working person on earth, but I don't know how I'm supposed to tell my kids what their father planned to do to me. I met my husband right in the middle of my 20s. I was fresh out of college and working as an intern at a highly praised tech company that I can't name for legal reasons. I wasn't getting paid for the internship, so I was working at a local coffee shop just so I could sustain myself. I had one other coworker there named Aiden who told me he had been working there for 6 years. I asked him what his end goal was and he told me he had dreams of being a freelance photographer. We used to talk about our dreams and the things that we would do if we came into money, and that's what our entire friendship revolved around: dreams. I told him all I really wanted in life was a functional family because the way I grew up left me scarred and I had this constant yearning for a redo. Aiden and I had kissed once, but I decided not to pursue anything else with him because I knew settling down so quickly at the start of my career was a bad move. Also, I always felt guilty talking to him because I knew that I would eventually quit the coffee shop and would have a high salary position while he'd probably still be there. When it did become time for me to quit the coffee shop, I left a note on a napkin with my number saying to stay in contact and left it for Aiden. I did it as a courtesy, not thinking much would come out of it. When I got my new position, I felt finally settled and financially secure. I was able to move to a penthouse after the first 3 months and my life seemed like it was on the rise. Everything that was peaceful in my life turned upside down when Aiden showed up at my doorstep. I saw him on my Ring camera and I was so confused about how he found my address. When I asked him, he told me that he had a friend who lived in the same complex that recognized me. I would later find out this was a lie. It turned out he paid $120 online for a people search and looked me up with my phone number. He told me that very day that he loved me and had been missing me ever since I quit the coffee shop. If I could go back in time and stop myself, I would've, but I ended up confessing having feelings for him even though I didn't. I guess I wanted comfort from being alone in such a big place in a big city, so I took things further with him. I thought we had a beautiful relationship at first. He was a stay-at-home guy and would cook and clean around the place while I was at work. In return, I had a goal of helping him accomplish his dream. I bought him a bunch of camera gear and ended up setting him up with a coworker of mine who did freelance photography as a side hustle. He took Aiden under his wing and taught him everything he knew about the business, and eventually Aiden got his own business and started partnering with different news stations, taking pictures across the country. I remember before his first international photography trip, I told him that I wanted him to hold up his end of the deal and help me accomplish my dream. When he came back from his trip, he came back with a ring and proposed to me. Fast forward 11 years later, Aiden and I were living together outside of the city. I had moved jobs because for some odd reason, my coworkers stopped talking to me and I was recommended to be placed at a different location. My boss insisted that it was for my own good and that I had done nothing wrong. I found out later why: because my coworkers were uncomfortable around me because they knew before I did about what Aiden was up to. I didn't know anything though, so Aiden and I were raising our 2 girls together and they're the loves of my life. I get to work hybrid from work and I'm able to work remotely at home most of the time so I can be with my girls. On the other hand, Aiden was always traveling in and out of the country, to Thailand, Haiti, Vietnam, and Colombia, taking pictures for different news outlets. When I needed help with the kids, my mother-in-law would come over and help out. Me and Aiden's mom didn't have the closest relationship, but we had a mutual respect for each other. We didn't have to necessarily like each other, but we both loved my daughters and she knew I took damn good care of her son. So later on, when I opened up my husband's laptop, I knew she was the only